just want to say,
are we done with the recording?
yeah.
Boiling for half an hour. Fucking hell.
Yes, just be authentic. Just be authentically you.
It's still recording, by the way. Let me stop.
Hi everyone and welcome, and we are today talking about the benefit of dearmoring, the potency it has in these times of crisis where it looks like shit on the earth, and where humanity is on a point of waking up as well, and where dearmoring has actually a huge impact on raising awareness on a collective level, on the we're clearing the ancestral lineage, we're clearing generations, we change our belief system. So we want to talk into the benefit of dearmoring on a collective plane.
And we're doing it because there's a training in October, and we were kind of thinking like, okay, so what is the point? What is the hot subject, if you like, in the world right now? What's really going, what's current? What are people currently dealing with? And what seems to be that we're dealing with is there is this like collective sleep pattern that we were under for I don't know how long. That seemed to be breaking. That seemed to be seem to be opening up and waking up. And so we're speaking into those of you that feel like it's time to wake up. I don't even know what that means, but it just means somehow to just like open the eyes and see what's actually going on in the world, collectively, individually, on all levels. So we're looking at this training in October as through those lenses to see how can the dearmoring and the work that we offer can help people to do that, to really step into their own power, to wake up, to become sovereign, I almost wanted to say to stop listening to, it's almost like commands. We're giving commands from the government, from the TV, through the, like the big brother is giving commands that everybody is just following, and somehow we just need to stop following. And the dearmoring is very, very good for that, because for me personally, and I'm sure you two can share as well, in my journey, the dearmoring helped me a lot, and it still does, to really just like say stop, put a pause, and actually feel inside, and what do I feel? How do I think about everything? And then act from that place. So this is what I have to say about that so far. What about you two?
Yeah, I think this is exactly what you said, Dan, that, you know, when we want to work on a collective level, so how can we take this debris that is conditioned in our own psyche, emotionally and physically, into our body through our, you know, like you said, Sana, through our ancestral lineage, through our family, through the area where we have been growing up, and, you know, having a bigger impact and waking up on a collective level is we need to start individually in ourselves and taking all this stuff out of our emotional conditioning, our belief system, our mindset, how things are in the world, just like getting a reality check in a group, in this pressure cooker of dearmoring on all levels, and getting really real and authentic with each other, and specifically with ourselves. And that's an amazing journey that I have been on through dearmoring.
Yeah, and I can feel it in my heart. What the heart is pounding, because I mean, this is like this new era. It's an era of transformation. So the future is not yet set. We're in this phase of transformation, so we don't really know what it will look like yet. But what clearly is happening is that the old structures are not functioning anymore. People are still giving power away to some degree, but many are starting to wake up that this is like, I don't believe these politicians, I don't believe this way. It's like, it doesn't smell good, like something is off, something is wrong. And I think the bridge for that is to become sovereign, is to understand what is my rights, what do I have a choice as a human being, what do I actually want, and not so much only on a personal level. Of course we have to start that, but to find that trust within ourselves, we can live in more sovereignty and true power and vulnerability and greatness and sanity, because this world is insane. It's, you know, it's completely insane. And I think that this is where dearmoring is so fantastic, because we clear the layers, the blockages, the social conditioning, the ideas. We wake up to that what is true for us within ourselves. so we can start to make healthy choices. And this is what I feel is, at least for me, that is it's responsibility. Like we have a responsibility. I feel I have a responsibility, not only for myself, but actually for being in service. And with that knowledge that when I do my work, I just by me doing my work, it has ripple effects. So it has ripple effects on the people around me, on my family, on the lineage, on the collective. And I find a sincerity and a humbleness in that is quite big, and it's not about me or I'm special. It's about this is a movement for humanity.
When you're talking, what's rising in me is the individual, the concept of individuality or being sovereign. For me in my life, what that looked like before Dearmouring, I was about up until, let's say, 35. Up until 35, I was kind of undefined. I didn't have the identity. I didn't know who I was. And so then I was like I was just kind of following whatever the mass, whatever the group, whatever. I was just, because I didn't have clear connection with who I was. And then through the armoring, actually, all it does really, it gave me, it's like a bubble that it's around me. And this bubble is independent from the opinions of the mass. And this bubble can move through world and countries and travel and do its own thing. So it's like a bubble of sanity just for me and my own heart. And I think this is what's important in these times. They say like time of madness and like hysteria and insanity. I feel in those times is especially important for every individual in that mass to actually just stop and create this bubble around themselves through the armoring, to actually let go of the need to listen to the mass or need to be kind of spoon-fed the truth. And so I feel the armoring, that's what it does. It enables people to really stand within their own bubble, in the bubble of sanity, and then they can move around, do whatever job they want, and just move through the world with a feeling of this is me and I know who I am and this is the rest. And if you guys, all of you, say 8 billion, are crazy and going down the wrong path, please be my guest, but I'm not going there. So for me, this is really the power of the armoring, is the ability to stand my ground and say yes or no to absolutely everything that wants to come into this bubble.
Yeah, I can totally copy to that. It's this the question to people who are sitting on the fence and don't know if the armoring is for them. Just like when you're absolutely ready to take that filter away, to be impeccable, authentically you, and speak your truth, so that it doesn't matter what comes from the outside. You hold your ground, you stay your place, and even if you're just like shaking because you're so vulnerable and being so attacked, but you still hold your own position. This is the greatest liberation and journey that is possible, going inside this road into self and just being real and just speaking what is not in alignment. And this is the part I love so much about the Dearmouring journey. It's like the people seeing how they wake up is just like one little light bulb after another, kind of just like, I don't compromise with bullshit anymore. I just speak my truth and I just don't hold back, and it's fantastic to see that and observe that in people going through that journey.
Sanna, I'm gonna pick you up a little bit and say, if you don't want to say, but before this recording, Sanna had a little chat, and we were talking about piercing the universal bubble and speaking truth into the face of this insanity that was going on in the world. Sanna, do you maybe want to a little bit share about how come you have the strength to actually touch the topics that are, taboo? And then if you do touch them, then you're like witch hunted and all sorts, because you do a lot of that, and I honor you. I think that's courageous. So do you want to speak into it a little bit?
What? Okay.
Just the ability to speak your truth in a face of, you're gonna be slammed.
For me, it's a calling. It's a roar from within for injustice. And not justice or injustice in a court, in the court, but actually on a universal level. But it just feels off. It just feels wrong, and it is as if it's that what motivates me. It triggers, like it kickstarts me from within to speak into that, and I cannot decide. It's not like a mental choice. feeling, it's a kickstarter, it's a trigger, it's an activation within. It's like it's almost like what I'm supposed to be doing.
My question to that was, do you think that the armoring, your personal journey with the armoring, because you have been dearmored many times, do you reckon that helped you to actually speak to hold the truth?
Of course it does. I mean, I can also say that I've been on a path for many years. Like I wasn't really following the masses. Of course I was to some degree, but of course dearmoring has been a profound impact in me getting to understand my gift, both in when I was receiving it, because I got more alive and I understood my value, my self-love, and through that it provides more courage to speak up, because I started to trust myself. And I started to trust myself even more when I started to give dearmoring, because then I could practice the intuitive skills that I have, and I could see like, okay, when I press there, when I do this, when I say that, this is happening. So I started to understand that I have a gift here in opening people up. And I learned also when giving dearmoring that I often reflected people's shadow behavior, and I was fine with it. Like if I could feel that people were hungry or men were hungry for me in sessions, I could reflect that on that, and then I could hold loving awareness, like loving point for it, because it's okay, you know. So
to summarize it, what I'm hearing from you is that through your journey with the armoring, you kind of were gaining more and more ability to know who you are, and because you knew who you are, you could also see in others when they're not being authentic. And so you could actually hold the mirror easier, so that people can expect that as well. The more they're being dearmored, the more they can actually do similar or the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think also the journey is different for each and everyone. And I want to speak into one more thing, which for me, when I dissect dearmoring, it's also deconditioning, you know, and this, I think it's the deconditioning of patterns that I love the most, which I find, because it's so much potency in the shadows, in that what we repress, in that what we hold back, if we can just dare to lift it up and understand it's a mental concept. And this is why I come back to, it's like, it's personal, it's collective, it's universal, you know. It's like, and the more we do this work, the more we speak into the unpleasant things, the more freedom we find. It's freedom in the darkness. We have to put light on the darkness. Yeah. So that is why I love, I mean, dearmoring for me is really that process, is dearmoring like the physical, but also the mental. Yeah. And I want to say one thing, because I love this short about the money, sex, and power. So I know I started to work with money, sex, and power because, and I choose the words money, sex, and power because people get so activated. Triggered. And some people stopped follow me, and people start to judge me. And I was like, but if you knew me, you would know that I do this to bring light into, you know, there's potency in it. But what your reaction is just up here. This has nothing to do with the actual topics. It's just up here. And I could use more fluffy words and people would love it, you know? So this is like, I love to shine a light onto that.
And this is the process of the armoring that you're describing, isn't it? This is the process of the armoring that you're describing, shining a light on the stuff that can actually, oh, I do this, oh, I do that.
Because the armoring, like the armor is the fixed, either the fixed pattern in the body or the fixed mindset, something that is fixed and it's not fluid, it's not flexible, it's stagnant, is lifeless, you know. But if we can warm, like soften that up and become alchemist and master that, life becomes, you know, so much more fun and passionate and loving and exciting.
I would like to just like add to that as well. You know, when we have taken all these filters away that makes us this fit in being that we are in society, and we are not afraid anymore of dying. So when our survival strategies and mechanisms that we have all created to adapt to all these conditionings, when they're gone and we are not afraid anymore, then we can actually really dive into that who we really are. And this is just as well what you said, Susanna, was like about the armoring. We can only guide people as deep as we've gotten ourselves, and that's the same thing, you know. It's just like it's not written in a book. It has to be experienced in in the body, getting all this survival patterns, mechanisms away, that the real true can shine through, and then we can guide people through our own radiance and expression into their real shine through. And that's so the empowerment, you know, empowered people can empower people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is really the new era, because we've been living in an era of scarcity, survival, disempowerment, giving power away, being overpowered. And this is like, we are building, like paving a path for empowered people so we can empower people. That's so correct. So we can start to live more, you know. It's like living in a society where we are thriving and not surviving, you know. And this is why it's so scary for people to start to live, because like you say, Matt, the survival mechanism is so strong. So how can we, like, you know, blow some air into that aliveness so we can become happy? You know, there's so many people who like, isn't it more to life than this? And, you know, they do all kind of distorted things with their body and to believe that that's where the change needs to happen. I don't think so. I think it's like to connect with our inner compass of joy, of gift, of purpose. That is what brings true meaning.
So it's really, this conversation is really fascinating, and I think we overstepped the mark. We wanted to do like a 1-2 minute quick recording, tada, and here we have a half an hour. So since we're here, do we want to carry on, or do we want to stop it?
I mean, I think it's an important topic. I mean, I think it's we can do another 3 minutes, you know. Like, there's more to say
Turn
about
into
it.
half an hour. I love it.
But let's say that, like, what is the, if we would look at the benefits, you know, like if we just like, what are you feeling when you do this work? Like, do you feel, what would you say if you say three words each? Like, what is the tangible results of joining a training like this? What could that be?
Alive, authentic, brave, to be me.
Yeah. Sam, empowered, alive, and authentic.
You?
Daring to stand in one's power,
That's my
to
word.
my gift to the world, and be who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. So really, like, what I'm getting, the common thread is authenticity. It's just being who you are. It's so simple. It's so human. It's so natural. Like if I look at the children playing, they all know exactly who they are. They're so different. And like on a playground, you know, there's like individuality is bursting.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
It's a journey from becoming real into being real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the becoming real is over, and then you are real, and then you are authentic and just express yourself.
then just live, you know, have a good life.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and there is also this beauty of discovery, of starting to take those first small steps. You know, some people think like, I'm going to be real now. No, it's a discovery process. It's like, I learn to walk and I discovered this, and this smells really good, which leads me to that, and wow, this, I didn't know this could happen. So it's a unfolding process.
I mean, this is great to say, because also for people perhaps that they're new to the path, or whatever that means, new to the path, who have not done much self-exploration, I think it's good to know that what you said, it's a journey, it's not a destination. One training or one course is just 10 days or it's just 7 days. It's not, it's basically, many of those will create a super powerful individual, but one of those will start a journey. So if you are someone who has never done any kind of self-development work, you're super welcome. If you have the courage, and just hold it. If you have the courage to really look yourself, I know, but just hold it. To look at yourself in a mirror and actually accept things about yourself that are not so rosy and shiny. I feel you're ready. But if you're someone who, actually, I cannot say that. We're gonna have to cut this out.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, for people, everybody, this is for those who have done some inner work for sure, and those who also done some embodiment work, because this training is so intense. If you haven't done embodiment work, this can be too much. So, but it's also
and I would like to add, if you don't know if this is for you and you're sitting on the brink and you're having some doubts, just like, please feel absolutely free to reach out. I'm 100% available for a discovery call, just like check out and ask the questions, and then we see if this is a good fit. So don't hesitate, be so brave to ask the question that you need to ask to check out if this is for you, because if this is for you, it will change your life to the better.
For sure. It's
And if
life-changing.
this is not for you, all three are honest enough to tell you that this is for now not for you. You know, that's also a valid answer. So do get
And
in
it's
touch.
definitely for those who working already with people and want to find a really profound tool to pass on to their client, to empower a client, to provide more awakening to a more healthy population, healthy people, work with sexual healing. I mean, Dearmouring is a fantastic, the best embodiment tool. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And stay tuned, because we're gonna have a webinar, right? We're gonna have a masterclass, a webinar, something, invite to something. So stay
So basically,
tuned.
we're gonna invite you to an hour and a half of a webinar where three of us are gonna. It's just for free. Just come, anybody who is interested in a topic, and then you can ask lots and lots of questions. You can individually ask us for benefits and what we got from it, what you could get from it. So yeah, do stay tuned and come and join us. Yeah.
All right. I would love to see you guys.
Yay!
Yay.
Evolutionary humanity.
But it's true.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Great.
Ciao. See you.
Ciao,
Welcome.
ciao.